In March 2018, Peugeot announced it had bought Vauxhall from General Motors for £1.9 billion. In April 2018, Vauxhall announced the closure of over 100 dealerships amid falling car sales, which could see the disappearance of the entire dealer network. In 1970, the Viva HC was launched. It went on to become Vauxhall's best-selling car of the decade. It was the fifth best-selling model of the 1970s, selling 548,000 cars. However, it was a long way behind its rival, the Ford Escort, which sold nearly 1.2 million cars in the 70s. In an attempt to boost the profile and popularity of the Viva, Vauxhall decided to go racing. Eddie Gray, my granddad, was the mechanic for Team SMT Racing. For 10 years, SMT cars dominated saloon car racing in Scotland and the north of England. This documentary is about Team SMT Racing and Ed's role in its success through the eyes of those who worked with him. Eddie left school at 15 and started work at SMT as a commercial apprentice. Apart from a 2-year break for national service, he worked with the company until he retired after 50 years. When he became involved with the racing car, he was a lorry mechanic by day and a racing car mechanic at night. Unfortunately, Ed has been diagnosed with Lewy bodies dementia and he struggles to remember things at times. Hopefully, this film will help him remember some happy times as a racing car mechanic.
Eddie, I first met Eddie when I started in SMT. I worked with him for 2 weeks. I learned a lot from Eddie in that 2 weeks. It was an interesting experience.
It started off with build riding when he was in Glasgow.
The first car was built from a Viva GT and was a saloon version, 2-door saloon, and with Blydenstein performance bits on it. And then that was superseded and built with a Forenza body shell, which was a 2-door coupe. And from there it developed into a custom built, what they called a super saloon. But when we turned up with the Vauxhall, Vauxhalls didn't race, and everybody laughed and thought, well, it's not going to get anywhere. And as the seasons progressed, Ford actually paid a bonus to anyone with a Ford engine that could beat us, and they never actually had to pay it. Very easy, because you just asked for something and it was done.
Ed, mechanic, a very good race mechanic. He was respected by everybody. He shared a lot of the driving with me. He was very, very much involved, very much respected.
Yes, I do. When I was just an apprentice, and Eddie says to me, stick the diff back in, Alec, and torque up the bolts. And I went to tighten the first one, snapped the bolt. I remember Eddie just looked at me and says, what happened there? I said, I don't think I've snapped the bolt. And Eddie, just in his usual calm manner, got the broken bit of the bolt out. And again, I learned a lot.
He was a great prankster. I got in the car one day and it was wet, and I never got in the car when it was wet until it was ready to go. But anyway, I jumped in the car, and it's quite difficult with the roll cage and everything getting in. And I got in and I realised they'd put a baby hedgehog in the seat. And it was very sore. And I said, why, afterwards, I said, why did you do that? And he said, well, you always went quicker when you were annoyed. But Eddie, you never got anything like that. You just got the car beautifully presented, as you expected, and no tricks. With the SMT car, it won the Scottish Saloon Car Championship 3 times. It won Northern Saloon Car Championship. I don't know, I've never added up how many races I won with the SMT car, but overall I know I won 110 races out of about 300. And the Forenza and the SMT car must have won more than half of that, so it's over 50, I would think.
Total Car Deliveries wanted to take the car to Nürburgring, a big race in Germany. I think it was 500 kilometres.
They'd never seen a Vauxhall, so we had quite a job to even get into the paddock, even though we had the right tickets.
Nobody at that stage raced Opel or Vauxhall, same car, on the continent. It was just never done. Yes, we were laughed. Every kicker looked at the car and shook their head and went away. It started that day, we started in wets because it was raining. And after the second lap, it's a 14-mile circuit, and it's up and down. It's a really worldwide known circuit, then. Very dangerous. Bill came through in second place. They still ended up being second in the race. A fantastic result for it, it really was.
During the racing, Sheena, my wife, came into the pits to do the timekeeping in the lap board, and that meant that there was no one to look after my daughter, who was aged about 4 or 5. And Eddie very kindly volunteered to look after her, so she was back in the caravanette with Eddie, who was keeping her plied with ice creams and all sorts of things while the race was going on. So not only did he look after the car, he looked after the family. Yes, there's other races that you won, but obviously because of being the Nürburgring, you're inclined to remember that. It was very special.
The sad thing about it is, when I left SMT in 1991, that was the last time I seen your dad. And I've never seen him since.
I'd like to thank him for everything I learned from him. I wish him well in the future.
A big thank you to him for all the hard work he did. He's an unsung hero, and without the likes of him, it would never have happened, because the car wouldn't have been reliable. And if it hadn't been reliable, we wouldn't have had the sponsorship, and it wouldn't have continued.